What did you come here for tonight? Don't tell me. This is just for you to think about, right? What did you come here for tonight? Now, I know some are thinking to themselves, I came here, Father, to keep the wife happy. And that's fine. You said, no, Father, not just to keep the wife happy. Well, that's good. It also keeps my mother-in-law happy. Really? Is that all you're here for? Because if so, you're really selling yourself short. Right? We're here to receive Jesus himself. Right? The God of the universe wants you with him. He wants you to remain in him. And that's a pretty amazing thing, considering I've met most of us. And God wants us in heaven. That means he knows something about me that I don't know. Right? I joked on Friday, right? My brother and I like to travel together, and after about 4 days together, we're ready to kill each other. But the God who made heaven and earth and all that's in it made me to be with him in heaven forever. Right? I'm here on this earth because he wants me in heaven. So why am I here? Right? Why am I in his house on a Saturday evening or a Sunday morning for him? Right? Now, that may have the side effect of also keeping the wife happy and the mother-in-law happy, and that's good. But that's not why we do it, right? We come here for him. If we come for anything less, we're selling ourselves short and we're selling him short. Right? He is the vine and we are the branches, and we can do nothing good without him. I used to hate that verse when I'd read that part of this gospel here today, right? Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit, because without me you can do nothing. Now hang on a minute, I can do an awful lot of good. Right? I am capable of many good things. But am I doing them without him? And if I'm doing something without him, can it in any way be good? When I was a teenager, I started singing in church. Right? I started singing a leading song when I was 12. And that was a really fun thing because I was good at singing. And I got to know that girls started to notice when I'd get up in church and sing. Okay? Let me tell you, it worked. But if I was doing it just for that, I was already failing. I was already failing for the purpose for which he had put me on this earth. Right? Because God's sense of humor, now I'm celibate for life. So the purpose that he made me for had nothing to do with impressing women. It had everything to do with giving praise and glory to his name and drawing our hearts to the Eucharist. Right? I've always loved music. It's been a strong part of my spirituality. And music can move me to tears. It can shake me to my core. Especially those wonderful Marian hymns that we sing in the month of May. Right? I can just stop, and you'll hear me sometimes singing along, and all of a sudden Father's voice will go all gravelly, and I'll get literally choked up. I'm a grown man, and I'll get choked up singing about mom. Because I recognize in that music that there's something greater here than just me. There's something greater going on than just singing to entertain or to delight. But what we're doing is drawing the heavenly realities down into our earthly realm and making the things that we do here greater than just what we can see or hear. Because I was a classical musician, and I'd go out and I'd do concerts, and that was great, and I loved the praise and the adulation. But what really moved people and what really moved me was when we'd sing sacred songs. And I recognized in that there was something greater going on. When I was connected to him and singing for him and giving praise and glory to him who made me for that purpose, then it was transformative. Then people were in church even when they were in a concert hall, as they met God in what we would do. And it was in one of those moments that I had my, what I call reversion moment. Right? I wasn't converted because I never really left the faith. But if he's the vine and I was the branches, I was hanging on by a thread. Because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And we got to singing a little old song you might have heard of called How Great Thou Art. No, not How Great Thou Art, excuse me. Here I am, Lord. It's my memory, I'll tell you what I remember. Okay? We're singing, "Here I am, Lord," right? That beautiful line, "Here I am, Lord, I will go, Lord, if you lead me." Because the idea of priesthood had always been in the back of my head, right, since Grandma first put it there when I was 8 years old. But I had never really connected, because I thought if I gave Jesus that much control over my life, then I wouldn't be in control anymore, and that would be a bad thing. But if I was being honest with myself and looking at all the things I had done when I was in control, they were not producing much fruit. They weren't working for the greater and honor and glory of the God who made me for that purpose. They were just for the greater honor and glory of Matt. And nobody was really impressed with that. But when I really sang those words and meant them, right, "I will go, Lord, if you lead me," even to that scary place that I have no control over called seminary, that place that will demand that I be conformed to you and not to my plan for my life. "Anyone who does not remain in me will be thrown out like a branch and wither." Right? I wasn't feeding on his life. I was receiving him in the Eucharist, but I was choking it off in my own heart. I wasn't allowing that grace to bear fruit because I was afraid of what he would do if I came here for him and not for me. And in that moment, that beautiful musical moment, that thing that I was doing for me, and yeah, for him too, sure, right, whatever. And then I really meant it for a change, right? I wasn't there just to make Mom happy. I wasn't there even for my own glory, but in that moment, I was there for him. And that was just a secular concert that happened to be singing a sacred song. Right? That moment changed my life, right? I went weak in the knees and I couldn't sing anymore, which when you're in a choir concert gets really inconvenient, right? And the guys on either side of me wondered what the heck was going on, because usually I was Iceman, right? I was always in the zone, right? There to work. And all of a sudden, tears streaming down my face and all emotional. And what is wrong with you? Because in that moment, I became who he was calling me to be, somebody who was still tapped into his grace. And all of a sudden, I wasn't there for me anymore. I was there for him. And the purpose for which he had put me on this earth started to be fulfilled. It was 5 years after that I finally got actually going, but it was started. He was starting to work. I was letting the vine feed me again. But it wasn't just in that moment. Then it was when I started going to daily mass, not because I had to, not because it made Mom happy, but because I wanted that relationship with him. If I was going to dedicate my life to his service, I wanted to know who I was serving. I wanted to know I wasn't crazy for dedicating my life to him. And I started giving him more of my time, and I started really going to confession for real, not just going and saying the same things I had said my whole life just to get it over with, but really honestly bearing my soul to him and letting him work on my sins and those dark places in my life where he didn't yet have mastery and lordship. And it started to really change who I was and who I could be. And I started receiving the Eucharist truly in a state of grace, not just freed from sin, but aware of him whom I was receiving. And it started to get emotional and powerful, right? I've seen that on your faces sometimes. Those of you who are converts, those of you who've thirsted for the bread of life for a long time, and you finally receive him and you just weep. And I say, I know that feeling, I've been there. It's awesome. I wish I could go back to that and feel that again for the first time. Maybe by God's grace I will, each and every time I receive him. Right? But even if it's not all that deep emotional thing that I get out of it, I still know now who I'm receiving. I know now who I'm giving to you, right? Who I'm feeding you with. And how great a privilege that is. Right? So if I get carried away sometimes in my protectiveness of the Eucharist, you understand why. because I know him who I receive and who you receive. And I don't ever want us to be mistaken about that. I don't ever want us to walk out of here not knowing what we've received. There's a lot of ignorance out there, right? I told you a couple months back that scary statistic, right, that only about a third of Mass-going Catholics believe in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And how that just boggles my mind until I remember that was me. That's where I was for a good bit of my life. I was coming here for Mom, not for me. I was coming here to get Dad off my case, not to receive the body and blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ, the maker of the universe, who made me part of it for a reason. I wasn't bearing much fruit until I let him in. So when you come up to receive the Eucharist tonight, ask yourself that question. Better yet, ask him that question. Lord, what am I here for? And if I came with the wrong reason, can I change my reason now? If I came with the wrong attitude, can I change that attitude now? Can I give you permission to mess with my life? All of it. Especially the ugly parts that I'm ashamed of or afraid of or I haven't even thought about because I haven't let you in. Let me tell you, it's worth it. It's crazy. It's beyond anything I had ever imagined. But I'll also tell you this. I went out on a limb last week talking about deacons not being at the altar. And I talked to a couple of guys after Mass, and we have 4 young men who are interested now, just because I asked on a whim. They're willing to transform their lives and let God move them in strange and beautiful directions. And God bless their very patient and understanding wives who are ready to go along for the ride. Because that's a vocation like nothing else, a vocation of service. But for you, and for me, and for everyone who receives him in the Eucharist, this is the life that flows to us from the very font of life. Let's not take it for granted, or cut ourselves off, or clamp ourselves off from that grace, but really let him go to work, and then see the fruit that it bears for us, for our community, for the world. This is what started the church. This is the vine that is spread throughout all creation. This is the God of the universe who wants you to remain in him.